Hola, hello, howdy, what's going on? So I have a few thoughts I'd like to share, and it's just a way to explain something, because what I'm seeing going on in this world is there are two kinds of people, okay, and there is a lot of confusion because of misinformation, and it's real easy to clear up. There are two kinds of people. Those people with a authentic human conscience or a spirit, and those who have one and no connection to it. So everybody's got this thing, right? I think there's a lot of humans out there that are disconnected because of our genome. I think that this human bioelectric field that we have is our conscience. It's our spirit. It rises in vibration and frequency of vibration, and it falls. When it falls, we feel bad. When it rises, we feel good. And that is that little thing in there telling us what to do and what not to do, because information processing is based on this thing, right? Here's kind of what I think is going on. Well, I mean, I know, but here's what I'm sharing. It doesn't have to be your truth. It's mine. So whenever we have a thought, whatever the waveform and the resonant signature of that thought is going to travel through our circuitry of our entire system in our biological body. Okay, we have another body. It's a bioelectric field full of photons. Okay, and this electricity with our thought is traveling through our central nervous system in our brain. It charges the bioelectric field. Now, if you have someone who is using the waveform of love as their constant thought waveform, it's a shorter waveform. It's a higher frequency. It travels faster and stronger, and it goes through the circuitry and charges the spirit. When you have fear, it travels through the circuitry really slow. If you're in a really scary situation, you have adrenaline for a reason, because you can't think straight. It helps you. It raises your vibration. That's what that's all about. So if you're constantly looking at everything as negative and you're beating yourself up all the time, you're not going to process information very fast, because this bioelectric field gets charged by the initiation of thought, and that's your will. Okay? That's at your will. So once it's charged and vibrating faster, it starts, because it takes in information. This electrical field takes in information of our surroundings. It's just like our sensory system for our biological body, which was modeled after it, but it is a sensory system for our electric body to gauge our external environment. So it starts taking in information from all of the particles around us in our invisible space. Okay, because it's invisible. So that's, it's the same bandwidth as all the other light and all the other invisible space. It starts taking in information, okay? And it starts reporting it back to the cerebellum, which is, the cerebellum is a reptile brain. That's just everyone has it. It's a reptile brain. It is a vibration detector that it translates a vibration. It's at the top of the spinal cord. All the information from the thought traveling through the body comes back up into it. The cerebellum is the reptile has a cerebellum, Okay? So once it hits the cerebellum, it starts traveling through the right hemisphere, and it's projected into the mind as a picture. Okay? That was the ancient. Okay? That is like a really advanced bee, or, the right hemisphere is a collective because it's communicating with the bioelectric field and the cerebellum. So it's in charge of that body, the electric body. The left hemisphere is our individuality, and it is in charge of our lower densities. Okay? It is in charge of our biological body. And it controls our biological senses. Smell, touch, all that. Okay, and it processes that information. Like, we have 2 information processors in our brain and a capacitor, I think. The cerebellum would be considered as. It's the renewable energy machine. So it's reading the, I guess you could almost say it was like a meter reader or something, whatever, a tachometer or whatever. I'm not going into that. So anyway, so we have this other body, okay? When you start vibrating faster, your information processing speeds up. When your information processing speeds up, you start perceiving more that is in your external reality. Things you never saw before, you start to see when you start processing information faster. Well, that makes sense, because when my phone's at 5%, it's terrible, it's slow, it's glitchy, it doesn't work as smoothly as it should, okay? When you're not using your bioelectric field and rising in frequency to process information, when it gets too low, you're only going to get bits and pieces of information from your external environment, okay? And you're not going to be able to figure it out. So, those people who are disconnected from their conscience, and that's fine. I think there's a lot of people mimicking a conscience. They know right from wrong, but it doesn't bother them to hurt somebody else. If you have a conscience, you can't hurt other people. You just can't. It hurts before you even do it. You just don't. And not only that, but you're extremely, the empath. We're intuitive. Okay, so as vibration rises and falls, and you're connected to this cerebellum in the right hemisphere, okay, and you can see pictures in your mind, and you can utilize your individual mind, okay? If you're at a really low vibration and you're born with this capability, you have a learned behavior that is to view everything as negative and hateful, and you're scared. When you start tapping into external information that is coming through your retina in light, because light holds information, it's gonna be scary, because you're not gonna be able to process fast enough to decode it. And it's going to feel like a demon, or you're possessed, or somebody's after you, or there's voices, because the individual mind is going to personify it, because that's all that thing knows. And it doesn't even know a present moment. All that thing knows is a past experience. So you've got this, you got one side reading the now, and you got the other side telling you it's like the past when it wasn't even there. It just thinks it knows, and it's trying to protect you, and it was his job. And you get people with schizophrenia and a lot of mental disorders. But here's the thing, it's not a mental disorder, it's a vibration disorder. Not even disorder, it's just a low vibration. That's it. And it can be raised through the waveform of love in your synapse, firing those thoughts. Easy. You start getting smarter. You go from being a schizophrenic to an empath to a prophet to Christ consciousness to the universal mind, Buddha. because you rise in vibration and you have this connection. Okay, so here's what I really want to discuss. The people who do not have this connection don't understand it. How could they understand it? They don't have it. They think that it's weird. Okay, let's go. Sorry, driving with my kids. They don't have it. They don't understand it. They think that it's something's wrong because they don't have it, and they're intelligent, normal individuals. They're the one with the disorder. We're not the crazy ones. They aren't either. They could have been born with a neuron dysfunction from a family genome that had been witnessing too much violence over the past 1,000 years. And it killed the neurons in the brain that are responsible for empathy. It doesn't present in their genome anymore. Their gene pool's missing what connects you to your higher intelligence. That's fucking sad. Excuse my language. That's sad. If you can't feel your vibration, you deserve to, because everyone deserves to feel that. Now, I'm sure there are levels of, or degrees of how severe this is, to where one is completely disconnected to where one is, just slightly disconnected. How many neurons are dead in there? They're mirror neurons. I know that's what this is. Those mirror neurons are the link between the two hemispheres. They have to be. There has to be a connection, because those fire when you see someone doing something you've done before, and they fire when you do something you've seen done before. It is about learned behavior, but it's more than that. It's about the connection to your conscience, because it's raising vibration or lowering vibration, and we should be able to control that. We're all ascension masters if our vessel is harmonized properly. Well, how can you harmonize your vessel properly if you're born with a circuit that's unplugged? You can't. Okay, so how do we fix this? Well, here's my idea. There is a reserve stock of organic cells that originally formed the human brain in fetus behind the retina. Okay, they're embedded, just like a blastocyst would embed in the lining of the uterus. There are cells behind the retinas, and they are these cells that can morph into anything they need to be, as long as they know what to do. So there's codes in the DNA that teach them what they need to do when they're forming a brain. Okay, well, now we've got a problem that they've not dealt with before, so we need to teach these cells hey, they're right behind the eyeballs. How easy is that? I don't know. A video for people who can't see pictures in their mind? Perhaps. A little video on these neurons, or not neurons, but these cells detaching from the back of the retinas and moseying on down and becoming neuron repairers. And they go and they repair neurons that have lost function due to trauma, because overproduction of GABA neurotransmitter turns into a neurotoxin and kills those neurons whenever you witness too much violence. You think the world's got a problem with viewing too much violence? Do you think that somebody could be trying to disconnect the entire species from the spirit by plastering that shit all over TV? I'm pretty sure of it. You know why? Because they don't have a conscience. Well, they do, but they've also lost the connection. They don't know any better. They think that there are witches. They think that people who have intuitive powers are evil because they don't know. Not to mention, the human race cannot progress without the human spirit. If you can't raise your vibration, you can't retire consciousness, because that is how you get there. So, if you're only operating with an individual your left hemisphere that makes predictions of future based on past events, then you're always going to repeat yourself over and over and over again. Is that what's going on? I think so. The right hemisphere can visualize a process and see what is going to happen. It can produce outcomes that are accurate because it can visualize the steps to make them happen. You need that right hemisphere. You need that spirit. You need that cerebellum. You need that reptile DNA. We all got it. When you see the elites in their rituals with blindfolds on, they're strengthening their right hemisphere. Why? You need it. They're trying to strengthen theirs and kill yours because their vibration is that low. And they think that they've been called and they're lucky and they're the chosen ones because they still have an active right hemisphere.
Time's running out.
No. That's bullshit. There's a way for everyone to have an active right hemisphere. Now, it is not a biological disconnection in the brain. It's an electrical disconnection. There's a guy doing a project called the Connectome Project, and it is how the electricity, your biofield, and how it all connects. There is a electrical disconnection between the hemispheres. You think? What if observing something that showed these cells what to transmute into, where to go to repair, and what to do was all we needed to get the whole world to the highest level of consciousness possible, Buddha. Did you imagine a whole entire world full of Buddhas? Oh my gosh, we'd be driving this planet out of here like a comet. You know? Everybody'd be so smart that, we'd make the ancients look like grade school. And we're supposed to because we are their ancestors. And they gave us that left hemisphere actually for a reason. So that we could continue on as a species, survive as a group, and on our own. And we have, so let's thrive. Now, the wands of Horus. Perhaps those were to jumpstart the neurons when they died, the empathy neurons. All we need is an electrical magnetic pulse at a certain frequency to match the signature of that specific person's biofield and get the system harmonized so that they can rise above and we can all get to the same frequency. Then we progress as a species. Get the psychopath to their conscience. It's the only answer. And it should be the most important thing humanity is working on right now, because everybody deserves the chance to know what it feels like to rise and not fall. Thank you.